Hey gamers, Steely here, and today I have a guide for you on Dark Totems. I wanted to put this one together for anyone who's trying to farm for Dark Totem pieces, to fight Skotizo, and hopefully get Skotos. I love Skotos, and I'm currently working on getting it, so I am hoping that telling you what I have learned will save you some time on your grind. Dark Totems are made up of a total of 3 pieces. These pieces can only be obtained in the Catacombs of Kourend, and also in the Giant's Den which is connected to it. The Catacombs of Kourend are located just east of Kourend Castle, and the easiest way to get there is by using the Kourend teleport with level 48 magic, but keep in mind you will have had to complete the Clients of Kourend quest to use it. Alternatively, you can use the Xeric's Heart teleport on the Xeric's Talisman, which you can acquire from killing Lizardmen in the Lizardman Canyon and charge with Lizardman Fangs. To get to the Giant's Den, your best bet is going to be to head to the Catacombs and walk just west of where you enter. There is a tunnel connection to the Giant's Den there. Alternatively, you can use the Fairy Ring teleport DJR and run southwest, or you can use the Lovacaine minecart network and land just south of the cave entrance. The reason you want Dark Totems is simply for access to the Skotizo boss, and as I've previously mentioned, for an opportunity to farm for the Skotos pet. I'm not going to cover the boss fight in this video, but I will link my Skotizo video below in the description if you want to go over there and check that out. Now, in order to make the Dark Totem, you must first collect a top, a base, and a middle piece. These pieces will drop in a constant rotation, so if you already have one piece, you will first get the remaining 2 pieces before the cycle starts again, so don't worry about collecting a bunch of one type, as the rotation will not allow this to happen. Once you have all 3 pieces in your inventory, simply click one onto another and it will combine all 3 pieces into a finished totem. From there, you simply take your totem into the Catacombs and use it on the altar in the center to unlock the boss fight. In order to acquire Dark Totems, you must first understand the drop rate and how to get them. Dark Totem pieces drop at a rate of 1 in 500 minus the hit points of the monster you're fighting. For example, a Hill Giant has 35 HP, which means their drop rate on totem pieces is 1 over 500 minus 35, which puts them at 1 in 465. The only other way to get Dark Totem pieces is from superior Slayer monsters, which always drop a piece when killed in the Catacombs of Kourend, which means your best bet for acquiring these is to unlock the Bigger and Badder perk from your Slayer Master, and then do your Slayer tasks in the Catacombs to hopefully get them from the monsters and also from their superior variant. However, it is important to note that you do not need to be on a Slayer task to get these drops. You can also simply farm monsters in the Catacombs of Kourend to get Dark Totem pieces. I have scoured through the entire drop list and narrowed down the best monsters to fight for these drops, and have a couple of recommendations that I will share in this video. What I decided to do was personally farm all the different variants until I got a single totem put together, and then pick the top options for totem farming. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire list of what not to farm, as that would just make this video crazy long, but trust me when I say, the vast majority of monsters in the Catacombs are just not worth farming if you're not on a Slayer task. Dragons are a pain, demons are slow, drops from most of the mid-level monsters are terrible, and the grind for totems on 95% of the Catacombs monsters are really just not worth doing. And after hours of grinding for totems, trying different methods, and doing painstaking research, I narrowed it down to 2 options. Option number 1, cannoning Hill Giants. Hill Giants are a great option for farming for totem pieces and a popular meta for this drop. What you will need to do is head over to the Giant's Den with a Dwarf multi-cannon and some decent combat gear. Since hill giants have such low HP, you can kill a large number of them fairly quickly, so despite the drop rate being relatively low, you are able to obtain totem pieces with ease. The drop rate from hill giants is 1 in 465, and for me, I acquired a full totem in 3 hours. I killed 1,771 hill giants, earned 242k GP, and obtained 1 dark totem, 7 ancient shards, and as a bonus, 14 giant's keys, 5 long bones, and 1 curved bone. On the supply side of things, I used 5k cannonballs, which roughly cost me 1 mil. So for the upsides of hill giants, it's a relatively low input AFK method, and you can kill around 500 hill giants an hour, which means you can expect a full totem piece as I did in roughly 3 hours. They also drop giant's keys, which you can use for bossing, are a decent source of herbs, and you can get long and curved bones for added construction XP, which is always nice to get as well. On the downsides, it's somewhat expensive. Since you are spamming cannonballs and obtaining relatively nothing from the drops, this method can be quite costly. I used over 5k cannonballs, which means I lost around 750k GP, which equals roughly 250k GP an hour. So while it is a viable option, if GP is important to you, I would not suggest this option, and it should only be chosen if you're a lower level player and you can't kill higher level options that I'm going to share next, or you just have copious amounts of GP to spend and don't really care. Overall time to get the Skotos pet, assuming you pull a pet in the drop rate of 1 in 65, means that you would have to farm hill giants for approximately 195 hours, and would need to use 325,000 cannonballs for this method, which means you would spend approximately 60 mil farming for the pet at the current cannonball prices. Option number 2, Barraging Nechs with goading potions. Barraging Nechs is another awesome option for farming for totem pieces and my personal favorite. In order to do this, you will need to have your best in slot magic gear, be using ancient magics with a level of 94 plus, and have an inventory of goading and prayer potions. You can also burst Nechs, but it will vastly reduce your DPS and likely make this grind a lot longer, so keep that in mind. Another viable option is to just use a Venator bow, but again, I've found the DPS to be a bit lower. However, you will not need goading potions as the arrows will typically bounce and hit in more Nechs, so it does make the grind a lot more chill. And you can also alch the drops as you go instead of having to bank them, as you will not need ancient magics, but with an 80 mil price tag, the Venator bow is really not the cheapest item to acquire. Next, drop a Dark Totem piece at a rate of 1 in 295, and I acquired a full totem in 2 hours. I killed 537 Nechs, earned 2.68 mil GP, and obtained 1 Dark Totem and 2 Ancient Shards. On the supply side of things, I used 4 goading potions, 20 prayer pots, 4k bloods, 6k deaths, 10k waters, for a total cost of 2.13 mil. Which means I profited roughly 275k an hour. So for the upsides of this method, it is a fantastic way of getting XP, as it does give you over 300k XP an hour magic, and if you have an Ash Sanctifier, you can also get passive prayer XP. I was getting roughly 10k an hour. Nechs also have a bigger and battered variant, which means that you will always get a Dark Totem piece from them when you kill them. However, it is important to note I did not farm on a Slayer task for an even comparison, so if you're farming these on Slayer task, you will likely pull more Dark Totem pieces than I did in this method. For the downsides, this one does feel much more tedious. If you're collecting all the drops, that means added bank trips, which means more running around, and it does also feel a lot more click intensive as opposed to the Hill Giant method. You could combat this by using the Venator bow, which I have already mentioned, or alternatively you can barrage and just forget the drops altogether. If you don't care about GP, I mean really 275k an hour isn't necessarily breaking the bank. The overall time to the Skotos pet, assuming again that you hit the drop rate at 1 in 65, means that you would have to farm Nechs for roughly 130 hours, and you would profit 275k an hour, meaning that you would make roughly 35 mil on your grind to the Skotos pet. And those are the two best options that I found for farming Dark Totem pieces. This should be everything that you really need to know about Dark Totems, how to make them, where to find them, and the best methods for getting them. I will note again, your best bet is to simply find these along your Slayer grind, but if you're looking to farm them, then hopefully this video helps you out. And if it does, please throw up a little like for me, and remember to subscribe to my channel for all of my other content. Good luck, gamers.